Caesar, I'm extremely disappointed at David Umahi. Those are the kinds of statements I don't expect to hear from a senior government official. And, he's a man I tend to respect, because he's a hardworking individual. And, he knows his onions when it comes to engineering and Ministry of Works and roads constructions and things like that. So I have a lot of respect for him. But particularly, I felt offended by that statement, because I've said it on this program severally. I detest the dog whistling of an entire ethnic group in Nigeria. And let's call a spade what it is. It's becoming one too many that we want to consistently and continuously scapegoat the Igbo ethnic tribe in Nigeria, and it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable because there is a history of violence targeted at that group since 1953 in our country. Listen, Caesar, a meeting was held in Lagos, not necessarily a meeting, in Parliament. Anthony Enahoro moved a motion for the independence of Nigeria. The North opposed that motion, and at the train station, when they were going back to their constituency, they met a crowd that was essentially mocking them. They got back to the North. Chief Akintola led a tour across the North, to campaign essentially for the independence, to rally the North in support of Nigerian independence. Guess what happened after that? Riots broke out in northern parts of Nigeria, particularly in Kano, where over 240 Igbos were massacred. Were they the ones that demanded for Nigeria to have an independence at that time? In 1966, particularly in May, months before the Civil War happened, thousands of them were massacred across northern cities, and they had to flee to the east for safety because thousands of them were indiscriminately killed for what they knew nothing about, right? So let's not even talk about the Civil War and the hundreds of thousands that were massacred, and the fact that after 1970, this entire ethnic group had to start from the scratch again to begin to build their lives. And Caesar, look at what they have done since 1970. A group that left or started from nothing, went to Bauchi, went to Kano, went to Meduguri, went to Akure, went to Ogun State. And look what they have built in 40 years of hard work, grit, and no support from the federal government. Look what they have done from themselves. But what we consistently and continuously do is to signal hatred and violence against the group. And this thing has to stop. We can't continue a country. Listen, if you don't want a group of people to be a part, let them go then. I don't understand this. Every turn, there has to be an excuse to single out an ethnic group. I give you a typical example. Just like the past elections, I heard people telling, how can the Obi, for instance, have scored 98% in certain states to the north? How can he have scored 90%? Muhammadu Buhari, under a PDP-led federal government, scored over 90% votes in 4 northern states. Go and check the results in Katsina. Go and check the results in Bauchi. Go and check the results in Jigawa. He scored over 90% in those states under the leadership of the PDP as a federal government. So it was okay for Buhari to score over 90% in his own core constituency, but something utterly went wrong when Obi did it in the southeast. This ethnic group have always been part of a nationalist political party and never really have ever built a regional movement. All the times they have supported a political party have been national political parties right from the NCNC.
Yeah, true.
They have a stakeholder in the PDP. They don't have a regional party in the sense that we had ACN in the southwest, in the sense that they had AMPP in the north. They did not have the behemoth of a regional political party. So where is all this hate coming from? Where is all this hate coming from? They tell you now, for instance, that they have a rabid mob who are harassing people on the internet because their candidate lost. We have very short memories. In 2011, a candidate lost in this country and over 800 people were massacred in violence in the north. I so know this because I personally saved 11 core members and were hidden in my father's hotel in Kano. So what are we saying? 800 people were massacred because of the ambition of somebody in this country. And suddenly we are losing our minds because we are saying people are insulting you online and they're a rabid mob. Let us stop this. Let us stop this ethnic dog whistling. Let us stop this ethnic baiting. And this thing should not continue. We are one people, one country,